is owner's pride and neighbor's envy. So it should be like, our campus should be the pride campus for the people, and it should be envious for the people who are living in high-rise structures adjacent to this campus. Having said all that, I just wanted to extend, this is as part of a welcome to all of you. I wanted to tell you a little about that campus, and you will enjoy this campus. On behalf of the university, and also maybe on behalf of our School of Humanities, I extend my warm welcome to all the delegates. In a gathering of this kind, I'm always triggered. I always get some stimulation, some stimulus rather, to speak out what you may not be regularly thinking of. A part of it, I know your organizer, Professor Uma Maheswara, may be thinking of, because I know his background. He not only is an expert in linguistics, he has done his master's in biology. So he is good at both. Whereas I'm not good at both. I can only talk about biology a little, and I cannot talk anything about language. In spite of that, I'll give you a little, after listening to both of them, like particularly Professor Uma Maheswara and Professor Rangan, about the concept of Dravidian that he has talked of, and the concept of interlinking of the languages, that the minor languages, that Tamilian languages that Professor Rangan was talking about. There was a mention about the genetic linkage in the languages. For the genetic linkage between these languages, that's what Professor Uma Maheswara was making a mention of that. There can be, I'm sure all of you must be, it is an accepted fact, and many of you are pursuing that, and many of you believe in that, and you classify your languages accordingly, and you try to trace the evolutionary origin of these languages accordingly. But when I was thinking as a life science person, independently, nothing to do with languages, language definitely helps us is important for us in our day-to-day life. Language is very important in day-to-day life for every organism that is living. Be it the organism which we are not able to see, like a bacterium, microorganism which we don't see. Even for them, there is a need for a language. For us, definitely we need a language. I'm sure the dogs have language, the birds have their own language, the ants have their own language. I don't know whether you agree with that or not. They do have some language, maybe primitive, may not be as advanced as we think of, as we are able to discuss, as we are able to present. They do have some way of communication, and that communication, if I consider as language, they do have language. They do communicate. Similarly, the plants, they also can communicate to the neighboring plants. Some message they can give to the neighboring plant, which if we take it as a language. And having said that, the language is an important part of life. It is very important in day-to-day activities of life. When I look at the concept, because for anything which is living, there has to be a base living, another living base. If I have to say there is a plant of this kind, it must have originated from another plant of that kind, another plant which is similar or somewhat similar. All that kind of evolution must have taken place from lower plant to a higher plant. Similarly, from lower animals to higher animals we talk of. When we talk about this kind of an evolution that is taking place, there is a base. And I'm sure you are also talking about that kind of a base, and from where the evolution has taken place, all that. At the same time, parallelly when we look at, there are some non-living things which are also evolving. Non-living things which are also evolving due to the technology that is available in the society. That is changed, that is ever changing. Every alternate day, you buy a mobile phone today and it becomes obsolete maybe after 10 days. You go back to the same store and ask him, he will say, sir, I don't want to take it back, just get lost. That's the kind of answer we'll get. Because the technology becomes, that is becoming obsolete. With that, the non-living things are also evolving parallelly in a different way. I was just wondering whether the language has to be put as a living one or a non-living one now here. I was just wondering, the evolution, that concept that we are talking, if it is a living one, I always see a possibility that there is some segment in the chromosome of the individual which may be influencing. There may be somebody in your group who may be interested in looking at such kind of segments which influence an individual in terms of their language, in terms of their expression of language. All those things may be possible. The reason why I say that it is possible is a large chunk of the DNA, a large chunk of our chromosomal portion, people still don't know what it is doing, how it is contributing to the life of the individual. It may be in plant, it may be in animal. A large portion of that is, we still don't know what it is doing, which means there could be a segment which is influencing. If it has to be considered as living, and there could be a segment, when it is only a hypothesis I am talking, and need not be, it doesn't have a base. I have not done any research, and I don't have any evidences to show to you that there could be a segment of that kind, but the reason why I am extrapolating there is the living organisms, as I said, the invisible microorganism, there is a segment, there are certain genes which are important for its language that are identified. And in some other organisms also we know for their communication what are those segments that are important. It is now, I see your subject, the association that what you have, the interconnections that you have, and the interconnectivity that it has with the different languages, this particular center and the audience sitting here. When it is highly interdisciplinary area, it is possible that there could be a biological discipline which can also come together, where you can collaborate and find somebody who is interested in this kind of concept and pursue. It may not be a bad idea if somebody can think in that direction. So I just wanted to give a life scientist view of the languages when I am here in the midst of language experts. I do not know whether I make sense to the language experts or not, but I thought nevertheless it's an occasion for me to share my thought. And again, I take this opportunity to welcome every one of you who have come from nearby and far off places and to have fruitful deliberations for these 3 days and also enjoy the campus. I am sure Professor Mohanty and Uma Maheshwarao and Rajarama will make every effort to make you stay comfortable, and I am sure they will also take care of your requirements, hospitality, all other things. I hope they will take care of it. And if we fail in some, there are a few difficulties sometimes in guest house. I request you to bear with those minor difficulties if you are facing them, but I am sure if you bring it to their notice, at least the student volunteers who are working for Uma Maheshwarao and others, they will be able to help you to sort out quickly. Thank you very much to the Dean School of Humanities, and thanks to the head of the Center for Applied Linguistics and Translation, and for all these associations for bringing this particular international conference to University of Hyderabad, and I wish all the best for every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Okara. We understood you very well. Linguistics is an interdiscipline. Let me be very emphatic that there is no other subject in this university which is as interdisciplinary as linguistics. We do everything, right from instrumental phonetics to translation studies. Everywhere we are there. So, that kind of thing. A couple of things for Professor Apara. We are also a little excited that you have started saying all these things. Non-humans talk. Sorry, made a mistake. Subhuman animals talk. Human beings speak. Made a mistake again. Subhuman animals speak. Human beings talk. They can talk to each other, but the subhuman animals cannot do that. So that is the difference between possessing language by the subhuman animals and human beings. Well, there has been a lot of research which shows that a person who knows more languages has a more developed brain structurally. The structure of the brain is much better than a monolingual person's brain. And cognitive abilities are more, these things are well known all over the world, and that's why Indians are more intelligent than many other monolingual Western countries, because we know more languages. So thank you, Professor Apparao. You have given us an opportunity to come to you time and again for all these things. So thank you. It's a pleasure for your nice words about School of Humanities. Those of you who do not know, let me tell you that he probably was a little reluctant to say that this university has got the Best University Award in 2015 from the President of India. In 2016, we are the second best university, and we have missed by a fraction to JNU. I hope next year we'll take care of that. So now I request a senior colleague, Professor Manikar, Honorary Director of International School of Dravidian Linguistics, to deliver his address.
Professor Apparao, Vice Chancellor, Mr. Marcus, Additional Secretary, Government of Israel, and my friend, Professor Mohanty, and my friend, and then Mama Rao, and my CA friend.